Welcome to All Basket Hangout. I'm Geralt, and this is. What's the beeping sound?
I took some damage.
Okay.
A lot of damage, in fact. I'm down to 1 heart.
Okay. Is that why there's a beeping sound?
Yes.
So, how do we make this stop?
Well, it's usually you break some stuff and hearts come out. And you eat those hearts. Do you have any stuff we can break?
I don't want you to break our home.
Can I break those?
No, no.
But I need help.
God
I'm
dang it.
dying. Can't you see? Can't you hear the beeping?
Yeah, this sucks. Here, have some potion. Well, thank God, that's finally done.
I'm fully healed.
Yeah,
Thanks.
nice, and you didn't have to break anything. But this is expensive, so I had to spend all 300 rupees for it.
Okay. So what's our topic today?
Yeah, how about that beeping sound?
Yeah, the beeping sound.
Yeah. Let's just say we're glad that it's gone. So, in the past, there's a lot of games, especially I think Zelda games in general have been ones where if you go down to certain amount of hearts, what you get is this beeper that keeps telling you that you're low on health. And this actually, we were reminded about this because we just played through Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And in that game, if you go down to low health, it does like one beep, and that's it. And I think it's just, we were so happy about hearing that. That, you know, it was just one beep.
And I think it may repeat if you go through a door and
Yeah.
enter a
if
new
you-
area.
Yeah, if you enter a new area, you hear it like once at the start, and after that it's gone.
And the character blinks red
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
But yeah, the sound, it's not, it's there, but it's not hammering your head
Yeah.
with its presence and forcing you to find some health to make that stop.
Yeah, and to be fair, there is a modern version of that. If you look at like many FPS games or even games like I think Mirror's Edge had this as well, and Kingdom Come Deliverance and games like that have. So basically, there's the sides of the screen sort of go red and they glow red, and maybe even your whole field of vision goes red. At least in Kingdom Come Deliverance, you even get these like blood splatters that start flowing down, sort of indicating that you've taken a blow to the head, possibly.
Yeah. But it can be a very interesting game mechanic
Yeah.
on itself,
Yeah.
being on low health and getting some bad effects from it.
Yeah, and I especially because in Kingdom Come Deliverance, I really like that effect. Because it feels sort of like, yeah, I'm damaged and I'm sort of seeing the effects, but it's not like hampering my gameplay, and it's not annoying like that beeping sound. So it was just, I remember the first time in the game that I got like seriously injured. I barely managed to win a fight, and I barely had enough bandages to stop the bleeding, and I was at very low health. I think I might have even almost bled to death. I had some wine that I could drink, and wine gives you a little bit of health. So that barely managed to make me survive that, and I sort of dragged myself to the nearest city, and there I managed to then start, resting and healing myself. So it was something that added to the experience instead of in many Zelda games especially. It's just annoying when you hear that beeping sound, and it's a time when you're supposed to be like calm and collected and do your best to survive the situation and make sure that you get some health back. But instead, because you get this hammering, beeping noise, you're just panicking in the situation, and you're just, where the heck do I get something to, get this beeping to stop? it's just really annoying.
Yeah, and this is something. It was in the old games. There might be some modern games that have that too, but it's lucky, or the major companies have let go of that beeping noise and made some more fitting versions of that, something warning you about you being on low on health, because it's very important information.
Yeah.
And just having health bar somewhere, you get pretty blind to it, especially in the heat of the game if you are battling a boss or something.
Yeah. And especially in games where games like World of Warcraft, where your health bar is basically at the top left corner, and then all of your abilities and skills are down and the right side. So that's where you're looking at the center of the screen, or you're looking at your abilities because you need to see their cooldowns, so when you can use the next ability. And so you're sort of not looking at your health and you're not looking at your mana most of the time.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether you could have done this better way back in the day already.
Yeah.
In the 90s. Could you have just used the Kirby and the Forgotten Land approach, having a one beep and then be done with it? Or a blinking character?
Yeah.
I'd say maybe.
Yeah, and I think I'd imagine that some games actually do use the blinking character thingy, but I think it's mostly for boss characters actually, and not player characters. I don't remember which game it was. It may have been like the some of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, where after a boss has taken enough damage, they sort of start to blink as an indicator that you've taken half of their damage off.
Yeah, and there are many bosses in many games. They enter the second phase when they are low on health and they turn color usually. So why not use that in a character, even in the old days?
Yeah.
This beeping is something that cannot really be explained by the tech of the time.
Yeah.
It's been a decision. Conscious decision that the player needs to hear this constant sound.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would. Yeah, I can understand. It's to warn that you're low on health, do something.
Yeah.
But they haven't really considered what that might feel like if you have broken all the pots in the dungeon and you have no way to get rid of that beeping.
Yeah.
What would you do then? You leave the dungeon, go to some merchant to buy some potion and drink it, or break some bushes.
And I think there was some game, it might have been one of the Zelda games, the way that the game calculates when are you low on health, it depends on your maximum amount of hearts. So in the start of the game, maybe you have 3 hearts, so you get the beeping when you have only 1. But at the end of the game, when you have 20 hearts, now you're getting the beeping when you still have like 8 hearts left. So that's, or 5 hearts or whatever, that's extra annoying, because you still have plenty of life left, but you're getting that annoying beeping.
And in the case of Zelda games, I can imagine it just stayed there. Someone somewhere came up with the idea and it just got copied to next games without really thinking about what kind of effect it has on the gameplay for the player.
You know, we know that Nintendo likes to make really good games and really excellent gameplay, and overall just you can buy any Nintendo game and it's bound to be pretty great. But they do have like these small blind spots, I think. Like if you played Super Mario 3D World, whenever you enter the stage, there's this timer at the top right corner. That's just basically a leftover from old 2D Mario games. There's really no reason to have that timer there anymore. I don't really know if there was really any reason to have it in the game in the first place. But especially today, why is there a timer there? That doesn't make any sense. But it's still there because they're just sort of keeping things from the old 2D Super Mario games sort of without thinking. And it feels like the same thing with this beeping thing, that they've just kept it going even though it shouldn't really even be there. And there's a similar effect I remember in the NES version of Tetris. So when you're playing Tetris, at some point you start doing poorly and the stack sort of gets higher and higher. And when it's high enough, then the music starts to get really speedy. And,
intense.
Yeah, really intense. And once again, it's the same idea as I mentioned before. That's the point where you really need to be calm and you really need to focus that you don't botch these last movements, because if you do, then it's game over. And at that moment, the music gets really intense and really fast, and it makes you panic, and it makes you make mistakes, and now you fail. So I always thought that was a really silly thing to have in the game.
Yeah, but that would be brilliant in an arcade game scenario where your aim is to make players to put in more coins.
Yeah.
Then when they are about to lose, you take every effort to make them lose that game without make it feel like the game cheated, but give that very intense music and some other effects that make you feel more pressured and you will fail more likely. So I understand if it was in this kind of arcade game.
If the idea was to make the game lose at that point, then yeah.
Yeah, but I'm very glad the constant beeping is gone from the Nintendo games.
Yeah.
At this point.
And once again, coming back to the technical decisions, like because you mentioned, could it work in the same way that it works in Kirby games, that it sort of warns you whenever you enter a new stage? And I think it could, because I'd imagine, if I remember correctly, I think that's how it worked in the NES Kirby's Adventure, because that's an NES game and it already had that. It just beeps extra loud when you're low on health, and whenever you enter a new area, it beeps again.
Yeah.
So they just have to add that to Zelda games or whatever. Of course, I guess it's a little bit more work, like adding that check to the start of every single room. But even if you don't want to go that route, another route would be just to have it warn you once, or maybe like beep a few times after you're low on health. So it's enough to tell you that you're low on health, and now you just have to remember it. I don't really understand like the obsession with reminding the player that yes, you're low on health, do something about it. Okay, we haven't done, what do you call it, like a subject research or stuff like that about this, but I'd imagine that it's not that big of a deal or it's not that big of a problem that player would forget that they're low on health.
It could be an accessibility setting or feature in a game if you have maybe vision that, or you are unable to see stuff well, or out of your gameplay, see the HUD or something like that. So it could be a very nice accessibility feature to have make the game remind you that hey, you're low on health.
Yeah, something that you can turn on if you want or need it. And even in older games, I think one other thing I'd imagine is that you could just have your like hearts be blinking as well, like very colorfully. It's strange that they decided to go with this annoying beeping sound instead of something that's visually showing, because that's the
or simply just a less annoying sound. Overall.
Yeah,
they already have
a
sound, make it just less annoying.
Yeah, less frequent, less annoying, whatever. But they sort of decided to go with the sort of the most annoying sound in the world route, and that's really, really strange. I mean, I guess it does sort of reflect like being damaged or being mortally wounded in a sense, but still, I don't think it's justified. So those were our thoughts on the annoying beeping sound.
Rest in pieces. Beeping sound.
Bye bye beeping sound.
And bye bye our audience.
Yes.
Let's see you next time.
Hopefully. You come back. Don't go the beeping sound route. You come back. Okay?
Thanks.
Okay.
You wasted the health potion. You
Yeah.
even didn't need it.
But it tastes good. There's still some left.